If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option, as Sori says. $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them. Alright, DJ Stream is in the works. Shout out to DJ Nick.
Blind Guardian Battlefield. That's interesting. This is Falling in Reverse. Voices in my head. This should be interesting. Let's check it out.
The voices in my head keep on telling me to pray, cause I'm spinning like a carousel, circling the train. Hit the bottom of the bottle, I don't wanna feel the pain, but that is all I got for now. I don't wanna talk about the voices in my head keep on begging me to stay. If I pull the trigger now, then the demons go away. And I know my time is coming, so there ain't no time to waste. So that is all I got for now. I don't wanna talk about the voices in my head keep telling me to choose a side. It's heaven or hell, like it's do or die. I'm a sad boy, you know better. Please don't make this last forever. The voices in my head keep telling me I'm not okay. It's feeling like a hurricane in my brain. Dark clouds, hard times, bad weather. Please don't make this last forever. The voices in my head keep on telling me I'm gonna. And I don't wanna talk about the drama. Giving me the worst advice. Kamikaze crash like a suicide. I'm a lost boy, you know better. Please don't make this last forever. The voices in my head keep telling me that I'm insane, and maybe I'm a little bit that won't change. Dark clouds, hard times, bad weather. Please don't make this last forever. The voices in my head keep on telling me I'm gonna. Voices in my head keep on telling me I'm cursed. I'm paranoid, I don't wanna make it any worse. We're all gonna die, but first things first, I'm gonna take the world with me when they put me in the dirt. The voices in my head keep on telling me I'm cursed. I'm paranoid, I don't wanna make it any worse. We're all gonna die, but first things first, I'm gonna take the world with me when they put me in the dirt. Move!
Oh! Talk to him! Talk to him!
Stranger Things girl?
I don't wanna talk about the drama.
Hopefully we don't get blocked, because they usually block us. These guys are, I think that this is the best band I've ever seen combine hip-hop and metal.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when
They do
Korn and
well,
those
yeah.
bands came out, you had this thing called rap metal or whatever, but it was like rockers doing rap music. Like, you could tell, like, that's a rocker doing rap music. And it was kind of gimmicky or whatever, and it worked. But these guys are, like, this dude is really rapping. And is it, like, Biggie level rap? No. But, if you look at the current rap in this generation, these guys are right there.
Yeah.
Like, the current rap, you know, is not really based on, like, complex lyricism. It's based on, can you make a good song and all the rest of it. These guys combine. Rage Against the Machine. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that, Nick. I'll have to temper my what I said. I think Rage Against the Machine is a like the De La Roca guy. He's like a genuine like hip hop head in my opinion. Like, and I feel like he's a gifted rapper. These guys though, I still think that for the contemporary rap style of today, these guys have it down, and then they combine it with metal. It just works.
Yeah.
It really, really works. One of the things about the current rap style, though, it's fascinating. Lyrically, they're nowhere near as talented as the rappers I grew up with. But as far as, like, overall, most of these rappers now have to sing. Like the Drake, that type of thing, that kind of style.
Yep.
You have to be able to sing and rap at the same time now, which is not something... Like, Biggie would sing, but it was a joke.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that Player Hater song. Player
yeah.
open up the door, lay on the floor. You've been robbed. This is robbery, nigga.
It's a robbery.
Player hater. And his song, you know, was all off, and he was missing notes and shit. But the current rapper now, not only do you have to be able to rap, but you also have to be able to sing, which is a very interesting trade-off. So what that means is that the lyrical complexity is going to go down. But in my opinion, the degree of difficulty actually goes up. Because you have to, you have to hit notes and all the rest of it. That's not something that, even gangster rappers, like Vaughn had some singing stuff. I tell you I love you, I mean it. Why they got killed, I seen it. You know, like, so yeah. So in my mind, like, these guys are the best ever at taking a contemporary hip-hop style and melding it with, you know, metal or whatever. It's not a very guitar-heavy song. You know, the guitars were kind of there to set the stage for the rap. Like, the singer is really the focal point of this particular song. But they've got a really, really good formula. I really, really appreciate this guy's style. Like, I respect it. I respect it a lot. You know, a lot of, like, the 90s hip-hop heads, if you came up in the 90s with Big and all those guys, like, there's all this, like, not disrespect, but, you know, because the lyrical content isn't as complex, they don't get the credit for it.
Yeah.
But they're not realizing that you have to actually be more talented in today's rap, in my opinion. Because I can't sing for shit, but, you know, it's not difficult to come up with complex rhyme schemes. Like, if you really put your mind to it, like, you lock yourself down and put your mind to it, you can anybody, in my opinion, can be a good rapper. But there's some people that can sing and there's some people that can't, period. End of story.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, and then the other thing,
I see what you're saying.
The other thing, too, is, like, if you try to do that shit live and you really can't sing, that shit gets exposed with the quickness.
Yes.
Like, so that's the other side of it, too, is, like, you know, you have to come with it as well on, you know, in a live performance. I respect it. From an older generation hip-hop head, I respect the current rap, and I also respect the hell out of this band for being able to meld them both so well together. Just really, 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 really good job. Really good job. Neil says Eminem is the greatest rapper of all time. Yeah. I think Eminem had a couple years, like that Renegade year, where he was the best rapper, but longevity-wise, Eminem has fallen completely and totally off the map. And that's okay, because Eminem's style was... I think Eminem is like the epitome of lyricism. I think you get Jay. You didn't miss much. Yeah, I think you get Jay, and I think you get Eminem, like those two, and then Cool G Rap, obviously. But a lot of suburban cats don't know about Cool G Rap, but Cool G Rap was, So yeah, Eminem was the epitome of like lyricism, I think. But he hasn't been able to adapt, and so obviously he gets a couple of demerits for that. But Eminem, you can't go wrong with Eminem. Good Lord. Okay, so lyrically, what do you think the song is about?
Well, I mean, he's talking about having voices in his head that is telling him to, basically it's over. And, well, not over, but telling him he needs to choose a side where he's going to be. But I think he's just...
The voices in my head.
The voices seem pretty negative.
Voices in my head keep telling me to pray because I'm spilling like a carousel circling the drain. Hit the bottom of the bottle. I don't want to feel the pain, but it's all that I got for now. I don't want to talk about it. The voices in my head keep begging me to stay. If I pull the trigger now, then the demons go away. And now my time is coming, so there ain't no time to waste. It's all I got for now. I don't want to talk about it. Then he goes into the chorus. So what's happening is like he's got voices in his head telling him to do the right thing. So in the first verse,
at first,
the voices in the first, that's what I'm saying. Like in verse 1, there are voices plural in his head telling him to pray.
Telling him to pray, yeah.
Which, again, we've been doing a lot of work with consciousness and union ideology and things of that nature. And so when a person says they hear voices in their head, are you talking about like audio phenomenology, like you actually hear voices, and is it actually located in your head? Like people don't think about that. Like, you're putting a physical location to a metaphysical experience. It'd be like saying my will to fight is in my hands. Like everybody would say, well, that's metaphorical. But a lot of people truly believe that in your head, that's where you're imagining all this stuff, or you're making it up, and it all came from your head.
Yeah.
Well, what is it about the constituent parts of your head that generates these kinds of voices? Like we were listening to Kurt Jaimungal. And the guy was saying, look, the same atoms that make up your brain are the same atoms that make up your kidney. You wouldn't say that your kidney's conscious. You wouldn't say that your kidney generates consciousness. What is it about this particular organization of matter and atoms that gives rise to consciousness and things like that? There's literally no difference. That's fascinating. Now, obviously, I don't believe any of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to come out of the closet as a panpsychist, but I definitely am extremely skeptical about physicalism, like that the physical objects in the world are actually there without mentation. Like I'm almost certain that that's not true. So then you ask a guy like Bernardo Cascio, well, then what the hell is the brain? And Cascio says that your brain is just an icon for the phenomena of consciousness. So that's all your brain is. He doesn't believe that your brain actually physically is there. It's an icon for you to be able to say there's some relationship between this thing and consciousness. So then the question is, where are all these voices coming from? And you take a thing like schizophrenia. And people think, oh, that's when you hear voices in your head, and you give them meds, and that well, if you ask people with extreme cases of schizophrenia, it doesn't matter how many meds you give them. It doesn't. There's folks where that does not work, and it's because we're assuming, a lot of these guys were taught in materialist, physicalist universities, so they're assuming that everything can be explained via physical phenomena, and so you counteract that with a physical prescription drug or whatever. But this guy is the first set of voices in his head are actually telling him to do something good. Pray, you're in trouble, that type of thing. You remember that whole story about that lady that had okay, guys, this is an unbelievable story, but it's true. It's an unbelievable story, but it's true. This woman heard a voice in her head with an accent that says, you have a tumor, you need to get your tumor checked out. And she ignored it, but the voices got louder and louder and louder, you have a tumor. So she went to the doctor. This is a peer-reviewed study, I'm dead serious. She went to the doctor and said, I have a tumor. And they looked over and said, you don't have a tumor, you're okay. This kept intensifying. Finally, one of the doctors said, can we please get this one with a CAT scan? Just get it done and then we'll... Sure enough, she had a tumor. Now, keep in mind, the other neurologist or whatever that had scanned her initially said, nah, you're good. And then they finally did some other degree of CAT scan, and they found it, and then they removed it. When she got out of surgery, she heard, we were happy that we could help you. Goodbye. She never heard it again. And this is like a peer... You remember when I showed you all that, because you didn't believe me when I first told you.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Right. And people were like, what the hell? Like, what is that? So my point is, when people hear about, like, you hear voices in your head, most of the time they'll say you're crazy, and most of the time people think that the voices are telling you to do something bad all the time, when that's not necessarily the case. There are almost universal experiences of people hearing voices or phrases in their head I'm just saying that for the sake of everybody here. People hearing voices that are telling them to do the right thing, to do good things. And then there are other voices in their head that tell them to do the wrong thing. Go ahead.
The old cartoons, they always had the devil on one shoulder, the angel on the other. Like, it was more accepted, I think, at that point in time, that you would have both types of voices trying to convince you to do it, this thing or that, And the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other was an easy way to show kids.
Explicate,
100%. What was going on, what we were all kind of experiencing.
Yeah. So I just think that that's fascinating. Some people say, is it the collective consciousness? Some people say, is that God directly? What was interesting is that the woman heard, we were glad to be of assistance. Have a good day. And like I said, she never heard them again. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. So the world is such a strange place. I will link the study of that person in the description of the video, because I know people are kind of like, that's ridiculous, but I mean it actually happened. What's interesting is, I made a statement yesterday about the kid and Ramos, and I'm gonna consistently call him a kid because he had turned 18 right before he shot up all those kids in Uvalde, so he's a kid himself. And I said yesterday, I have no like ill feelings toward that guy. I look at that guy as a victim himself. All of my angry feelings are obviously directed toward the police. But one of the reasons that I have a hard time being angry at that kid is because he obviously was subjected to this kind of stuff, right? Obviously voiced it in his head. Yeah. And he makes that statement, I'm paranoid, I don't want to make it any worse. Voices in my head keep telling me I'm cursed. We're all going to die, but first things first, I'm going to take the world with me when they put me in the dirt. So you can almost be certain that that's what the kid was hearing. Like, you're going to die, take all these people with you, your name will be remembered, blah, 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 blah. Whatever it is he was hearing is what he was hearing. And I'm certain that there were things that he did to cry out for help or whatever that were just not picked up on. Look, the cops had enough time to apprehend this dude before he actually did any serious damage. And they didn't do it because they were trying to save their own skin. And I think, like I said, I do think that there is a crisis of manhood in this country, and I don't mean people are not, it's not about the toxic masculinity bullshit. It's about the older generation helping the younger generation through navigate some really difficult and scary times. The last 5 years in this country have been insane. We've had the media telling us that our country was, our president was at the behest of some hostile foreign entity, with the whole Trump Russiagate nonsense. Then after that happened, the other half of the media was telling us that the election wasn't real, and then the gas prices, and then New York City doing this weird how to survive a nuclear there's a lot of shit happening, and you got these young men who have, because of the nature of being male, a higher capacity for violence, and the country is flooded with weapons, and mental health issues are skyrocketing. You force these kids away from all their friends during the lockdowns.
Yeah.
The Buffalo shooter explicitly stated that he got radicalized during the COVID lockdowns. Like, that shit, you basically put a lot of these kids in solitary confinement. So I'm not going to hate that kid.
And even when they were around each other, when everybody's forced to wear masks over their face,
it
still makes you feel distant from people.
Yeah, 100. And then this kind of suspicion of all of your people who you would normally smile at in Walmart. Now somebody like sneezes. You remember this, like last year, if somebody sneezed or coughed, everybody was, this complete like perpetual suspicion of everybody, and everybody, I understand how an 18-year-old kid or 17-year-old kid could be like, yo, I'm out of here, bro. Like, I get it. Yeah. I don't understand how grown men who have children themselves could sit there and let that happen. This to me is like the worst episode in American history of shit. I really enjoyed the song because he's definitely speaking to some very real issues and speaking for people that don't have a voice, because we're told in society to hate everybody that does these mass shootings. We're not told to try to understand them. It's just kill them. And, so we're not told to try to understand why they're doing what they're doing. And I want to know why they're doing what they're doing. Not only so we can avoid it, I just want to know this person. Why? What drove that individual? Like, that's what I want to know. Because apparently this guy went through his entire life, Anyway, I just thought the song was really good.
I thought the song was interesting because at the first part, verse 1, he's telling them, like, that there's this voice that's saying, look, you're spinning around like you're on a carousel. Obviously, he was going through a difficult time, but the voice is telling him to pray. And it doesn't say that he did. Then the voice is like, look, you got to choose a side. And then he says, I'm a sad boy. You know better. Please don't make this last forever. And then the voices, it seems to me that there's a progression where they're continually dropping lower and lower and lower for him. Because then the voices are telling him that he's not going to be okay. And then the voices are telling him he's going to die. And so, like, these voices are progressively getting more and more toxic. And
yeah, I missed that. That's a good point.
I think that's what happens. Like, the more that we allow, and I'm coming from a perspective, I'm a Christian, so that, I guess I have to factor that into the discussion. Like, for me personally, when I felt myself taking that decline, it did seem like it was getting worse and worse and worse. And eventually I hit a point where I was like, my thoughts were so toxic and so negative toward myself, and and then at that point it's very easy to get thoughts of suicide because you're just trying to escape. And I guess maybe some people aren't trying to escape, maybe some people it's different things, but it gets really,
there's this, I get that and I relate to that, but what's happening now is people want to take other people with them. That's the element where I say, what is going on? Yeah,
I mean, I definitely think that there's something extra when that is happening. But I do think that there comes a point where you have to start making the conscious choices not to listen to those negative voices and to counteract them with something else. And I think that therapy is important for people. I do think that, like, sometimes you have to get a change of scenery, too. Like, if you're going to the same groups of people, or you're hanging out in the same comment sections, or you're hanging out on the same sites and the same types of people, and it's dragging you down more and more, and you're never feeling uplifted, then you should find other places, other people to hang out with, and get the mental help that you need. Because if you're just gonna, but part of it is making a conscious decision ourselves to say, okay, rather than keep visualizing these negative things. What?
You know, it's interesting. As a Christian, you have some sort of paradigm that just because the thing flashes in your head doesn't necessarily mean it's coming from you. Mm-hmm. So in our belief system, we believe that there's, let's say, just vanilla. Because aside from the things that we're looking at as far as consciousness goes, there's you, then there's malevolent forces, and there are good forces. Mm-hmm. So at minimum, you've got 3 categories for the origin of that thought. Mm-hmm. Modern secularists, Freud won over Jung in the Western world as far as psychology goes. Most people, when they have a thought in their head, believe that it came from them. Exclusively from them. So when you're saying you have to ignore those voices, you're making a distinction between the voices you hear in your head and you. Because what part of you is ignoring the voice? Yeah. They think that every thought that's in their head comes from them, which in my view is one of the flaws of materialism. Because you don't have that sort of meta-consciousness to look outside and say, that's not for me.
Yeah.
What's fascinating about Jungian ideology or panpsychist ideology or Hoffman's ideology is that you don't even have to be a theist to believe that there could be multiple voices in your head that did not originate from your, as Kastrup calls it, executive ego. Mm-hmm. That there are sub-egos and subconsciousnesses that have true ontology. Mm-hmm. And as you know, the phrase I use that you're responsible for, because you have an executive ego that can choose between the 2 or 3 or 5. And I think that's so helpful, because then you can say, that's not me, that's not coming from me, or that's not,
I agree.
That's what we're and now, I mean, us.
That's really terrifying that there's whole groups of people that don't realize
the vast majority of people don't realize that. The vast majority of people believe that every thought in their head originates from them. Yeah. So, and again, that's what happens when Freud beats Jung. I mean, Jung is making a major comeback right now, and I think a lot of that is coalescing with the doom of space-time. And I think all of us are now seeing the obvious flaws in materialism. We all had that discussion yesterday about colors. Right. That colors are nothing but a mass hallucination, a mass illusion and delusion. And so I think as science progresses, and as I was just watching Castro. I actually stopped it because I wanted you to watch it with me. Bernardo Castro for his second doctorate, because when you're going for your doctorate, you have to defend your thesis. Okay. So Bernardo Castro is in this highfalutin university, defending his panpsychist thesis on this board of people. It's unbelievable. I stopped. I was like, I wanted to watch. I was like, I gotta watch it with Sori. Aww. So what I'm saying is, like, that is making a huge surge right now, and so I think the next generation is going to have a lot more equipment as far as being able to handle these things. Yeah. Than generations past. But I really enjoyed this song. Obviously not as much as the previous song. This is at 9.8.
9.6.
All right, dear listener. We have The Night Has Just Begun.
Disturbed is up next.
Disturbed is up next. That was a deep song. Was it Hey You? Mm-hmm. Okay, we shall return. Turn. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Don't.